Hello everyone, we are your hosts Jonathan
and Stephanie,
and this is
Social Birds.
a new podcast in the Québec City series. In this episode, we will be discussing about a topic that is most likely of interest to many or all of you: social media.
Social media is a big part of our lives, and we want to share our opinions about this beautiful, yet kind of scary thing that is social media. As teenagers, we are aware of the effects social media can have on all of us, and we want to shed some lights on these issues.
So this podcast will be separated in three parts. First, we're going to discuss about our personal experience with social media, talking about our habits and how it has affected us personally. Then we're going to talk about what we've witnessed from social media with our friends and how it has affected people we know. Then we're going to discuss what is social media in 2022. So we're going to start off right now. So Stephanie, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What are your habits with social media?
I think my habits with social media is quite daily because, well, the first thing that I do in the morning when I wake up is I take my phone and check all my social media. I will go on my Instagram, my Snapchat, my Messenger, even my TikTok or Facebook to see if my friends have texted me or if there's some new stuff that's going on, just to be alert of what's really going on. And yeah, so I guess it's a daily habit for me, not only in the morning, but before I go to bed or even at lunch during school or even during class a little bit maybe. What about you?
Well, my habits are pretty much daily too. I always, well, not always, but I'm always checking my phone, It's just a way to communicate.
Every time we have a little notification, we check our phones immediately. I think I have a little bit of a difficulty to wait a little,
Yeah, me too.
for
I
5
don't like
minutes.
leaving my messages unopened. It bothers me. And I also get my notifications on my watch, so I always know when someone texts me and I check immediately. But the first thing I do in the morning is also check my social media, just like you, and before I go to bed. So I would say our experiences are very similar for on that part. But I know you don't post a lot on social media, which
No.
is something. Well, I post more than you.
Like personally, social media doesn't affect me in a negative or a bad way, but it kind of not stresses me a little bit, but I think I'm a little bit scared of the judgment that we could get by posting on social media. So maybe that's why I don't post as much. So I guess the effect it has on me, yes, it's a daily thing, but it doesn't have any negative aspect to it personally. But
Yeah, me neither. I don't think social media has affected me in a negative way. But maybe it has, and we don't really know that it has affected us. It's just we're so used to it that we don't know that it has affected us. I don't know if that makes
because
sense.
many studies shows that social media really has negative effects on our mental health, even if we're not even conscious about it. So yeah, we're teenagers, so I guess it's kind of normal to social media to take all these big places. Do you feel maybe we should lower our utilization of it?
Well, I think yeah, because I mean, I'm kind of torn because sometimes I think social media can be great because it's just our way of communicating nowadays. So I don't think it's that much of a bad thing that we spend so much time on social media, but we could like socialize more in real life. I think it would be better for our mental health.
But personally, I don't think social media is depriving me of going out or talking with other person.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think social media has that big of an effect on my life.
But for others, it has.
Yeah.
So much. And that brings us to our second point where
We're going to discuss how social media has affected people we know.
Okay, so first thing first, I guess that experience with social media is a lot different within different generations. For example, my parents doesn't have the same experience as I do. For example, my mom doesn't know what TikTok is or even Snapchat. She's always asking me about what are the streaks, stuff like that. And she's always like, the only app that she's using is literally Facebook, and she doesn't comprehend it really well.
Yeah, well, I think my parents know what other apps are. They just don't know why or how we use them. Like for Snapchat, my mom thinks it's just something to see where your friends are, but that's not how it is.
But their experience is like so lightheaded. They don't really struggle. They don't really.
It's just, well, it's not as big of a deal for them.
It's not a big
it's just
deal
to
for
check
them.
what their old friends are doing.
It's an activity. It's an experience. It's like just an adventure for them. They're exploring this little phone that they have now.
But I think it has affected people more in our generation than in older generations, especially with like body standards and Photoshop.
Photoshop is something that is so current, not only in friends that we don't really know, or even with influencers, but within our friend group. Photoshop or just using filters is something that everyone does.
Yeah, I'm gonna admit I use Photoshop a little bit, but just to modify like certain little aspects. Like I don't like redo my everything, but if I have like a pimple or whatever, I'm gonna edit it out.
And we always Photoshop little insecurities because social media is a big platform where you're scared to to be judged.
Yeah, I think that's why people are photoshopping their pictures is because always in fear of judgment.
And also because of all those standards that our society raise, like girls have to be skinny, they have to be blonde, or guys, they need to be muscular.
Yeah, body standards in our generation especially are like the one thing that dictate everything we do, and we always edit our pictures and modify them in ways that are gonna like fit more the body standards, and almost everyone uses Photoshop.
Yeah, that's true because in an article in the New York Times magazine, it says that 99.9% of the images that we found on the internet, on social media, is edited or even Photoshop. That's insane.
Yeah, and that's insane. And it says also that 90% of young women report using Photoshop. So it's just crazy to think about that almost everyone using social media are editing their pictures to look a certain way to like be more pleasing to people and not like.
This really proves that the experience of everyone on social media is kind of fake, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, because you can post pictures to boost your confidence when you have a good picture and you want to show it off, but social media can really also hurt your confidence a lot because you just want to look like everyone else and you're editing your pictures and then you don't really look like that, so it can really hurt your confidence.
In our language, I guess, in our teenage language, we call that a catfish. But personally, I have a friend who, well, social media is really a thing that stresses her out. And some people may even develop maybe like eating disorders and all that stuff. Yeah,
because some people, I personally know people who, like, they compare themselves so much and they developed, well, I mean, it wasn't only because of social media, but like always seeing people that were skinny or that fit more the body standards that we were talking about, like it really hurt their self-confidence and they developed eating disorders and like unhealthy training habits and they overtrained and they didn't eat and it was just like really not healthy.
For example, now on TikTok there's a trend that weightlifting is something really in right now.
Yeah.
So everyone in our friend group, for example, is starting to work out. So I guess for now it's it's awesome. Like we're all the girls at the gym. It's fun, but I don't know if in a long term it will be healthy.
Yeah, because like for example, what you're saying, like it's really healthy. It's like a healthy habit, like going to the gym. But it's just when you start doing it in excess to look a certain way because you don't like yourself, that's when it starts being unhealthy.
Yeah, but like now we're only talking about all the negative experience our friends live with social media, but social media has such a positive effect also. Whether we like it or not.
Yeah, because it's a great way to connect with people and meet new people also. Because like some people they like to judge social media and say that it's better to meet people in real life. But I also think that building connections on the internet is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a really good thing.
No, not only to encounter new person, but also to learn new things. Like social media is a
learn
big
a lot
tool
on social media.
You have to learn which source is trustable and which are not. But if you know how to navigate through websites and all that stuff, social media can be a great, great tool.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in our next section. That is going to be what is social media in 2022. Social media in 2022 takes up a really, really big part of our lives. We talked a lot about the negative parts in the previous sections, but there is also a lot of positive to social media. Like it's a good to learn, like we were just saying, especially on TikTok, because
TikTok has a lot of controversies though, but it's such fun. And like you said, we can learn a lot of new stuff. For example, cooking.
Yeah, there's a lot of cooking videos, like, a lot of life hacks, and like there are people that just want to share their skills and their knowledge on TikTok and they make videos. And there's a lot of negative, but there's also a lot of positive, and we don't talk about the positive a lot, which I think sometimes is like that's can be toxic because we just think that social media is a bad thing, but it's not.
For example, now in 2022, people want some short form content. So we're getting bored at watching 20 minutes videos. We're getting bored at having movies that has a slow paced rhythm. We want short, fun, and surprising videos. So TikTok is a great platform for that.
Yeah, because TikTok is rising, but like for example, YouTube is like slowly going down. We're not talking about it as much as we used to because like you were saying, people want like quick videos and like they want to skip to the next video quickly and they don't want to watch that 20-minute video even if it's interesting or not.
In 2022, the social media is evolving a lot, not only in a fun and entertaining aspect, but also around advertising. People are using a lot more social media to advertise their companies, their product, and all that stuff. So I think it's great because Jonathan and I are both students from the business program, so we are kind of attached to social media.
Yeah, because before, like, all the advertising was done on TV and things like that. But nowadays, with social media, it's a great way to advertise because it's less expensive because, like, the company can post directly on their account and they don't have to pay for an ad on TV. So, and also, a big part of advertising nowadays is influencers.
Influencers, I feel I'm kind of torn with the influencer aspect.
Well, I think that sometimes like influencer is a big term. Like some people they call themselves influencers, but they're
I
not
hate
doing a
that.
whole lot.
I hate them.
Yeah, but like companies reach out a lot to influencers to promote their brands because they want the face of someone that the people like to promote their services or their products. But a lot of influencers, they're not doing a lot, and they're making a lot of money off of not doing a lot.
We don't take away the credit of those influencers. For example, Charlie D'Amelio is a young teenager. She's like 17 who did like a short dance video and she became literally viral. She has now more than 60 millions?
No, she has more than she has like 120 million
followers on TikTok. So that's insane. That's an insane amount. Just because she only did a little 20 seconds dance video.
Yeah, and now comes the advertising part because now brands reach out to her to promote their product. Like everything we buy nowadays is because we saw it on social media or something like that, So social media is mainly, I would say, place of advertisement in 2022.
Yeah, entertainment and advertising.
Yeah, entertainment and advertising and toxic.
For some. So here's a little wrap up of what we talk about during this episode.
So in the first section, we mentioned that for us, social media doesn't have a big negative impact on our lives. It definitely has an impact.
Because we use it daily.
Yeah, because we use it daily and it's like we constantly use social media, but it hasn't affected us negatively in like ways that changed our lives.
But for others, their experience can be very different. So
very toxic.
Very toxic and or even just not that much important. So
yeah, some people don't really care about social media.
Like older people or parents.
Yeah. And we discussed in the last part that social media is now a place of entertainment and mostly advertisement.
So is social media a good or a bad thing? That is up for you guys to decide.
We hope some of you could relate to the things we said or we might have opened your eyes on some of the darker sides of social media. But for now, thank you for tuning in and make sure to check out some more podcasts from the My Québec City series. Bye!
Bye!